Amazon has confirmed that the company will be laying off more than 18,000 workers, with most of the layoffs occurring later this month. While several teams will be affected, the Amazon stores and people, experience, and technology organizations will see the bulk of the job cuts. So why is this? What's happening to Amazon? And why all the layoffs? Without further ado, let's get started. The layoffs. It's now a norm seeing tech companies laying off employees since late 2022. Salesforce, a provider of cloud-based CRM software, declared on Wednesday that as a part of a restructuring plan, it will close some offices and lay off about 8,000 employees, or 10% of its workforce. It's not just Salesforce. Other tech companies like Amazon did the same thing, saying that it was all because of the ongoing economic downturn. They had overhired as their revenue increased during the pandemic and can now not support their current workforce size. The global economic downturn that has hit technology companies this year has slowed growth and led to widespread layoffs. Even though enterprise IT spending in some areas, like cloud computing, appears to be holding steady. According to TrueUp's tech layoff tracker, through the first week of December, 219,959 people were affected by 1,405 rounds of layoffs at tech companies worldwide. Many technology companies like Amazon reduced hiring when the global economy began to deteriorate earlier in the year due to worries about an impending recession. Bad news is that, as business sought to reduce operating costs considering rising interest rates, most of those freezes were followed by job cuts. The effects of enterprise spending on cloud infrastructure and SaaS applications haven't been sufficient to ultimately improve the situation for the biggest competitors in the tech sector. Even though enterprise IT spending is still expected to rise over the course of the upcoming year, as businesses use technology to combat the impending recession, business leaders are likely to be optimistic about the economy in 2023. So the number of job losses reported by TrueUp will likely keep rising. So how is Amazon doing their layoffs? Amazon layoffs. According to a letter from CEO Andy Jassy that was shared publicly and posted for employees on Wednesday, the layoffs, the largest round of job cuts in the company's history, resulted from the uncertain economy. Jassy continued by saying that Amazon had previously survived difficult economies and would do so in the future. The layoffs follow a hiring boom during the pandemic when lockdowns and other safety measures drove customers to online retailers and fueled Amazon's retail business. Jassy noted that Amazon had hired rapidly over the last several years, but added that the layoffs would help the company pursue more long-term opportunities with a stronger cost structure. The company's physical stores, which include Amazon Go and Amazon Fresh, as well as its PXT organizations, which handle human resources and other duties, will be one of the most impacted by the layoffs. Affected employees will receive packages that include a separation payment, temporary health insurance benefits, and assistance finding outside employment. Jassy initially informed staff members in a public message that layoffs would take place on November 17th last year, though he omitted to say how many workers would be affected. In his note this week, he noted between the reductions they made in November and the ones they are sharing today, they plan to eliminate just over 18,000 roles. Jassy stated in his message to staff this week that the business typically only shares these results once they can speak with the people directly impacted. He continued by saying that since one of his teammates had already leaked this information to the outside world, they decided it would be best to let everyone know about it sooner. Beginning on January 18th, Amazon plans to speak with impacted employees or, as applicable in Europe, employee representative bodies. Jassy stated that he and the S team are acutely aware of how challenging these role eliminations are for people in relation to Amazon's leadership group, and that they do not disregard the possible effects these choices may have on the people who will be impacted. But it's not just Amazon who are doing the layoffs. Guess what? HP. HP also disclosed that by firing 4,000 to 6,000 workers by the end of the fiscal year 2025, it expects to reduce its 51,000-strong global workforce by about 12%. According to the company's financial results for the fourth quarter of 2022, revenue fell by 11.2%, from the previous year to $14.8 billion. By the end of the company's financial year in 2025, Enrique Lores, President and Chief Executive Officer of HP, said that the strategy would save the company at least $1.4 billion, enabling it to overcome softness in HP's core markets and navigate through what he called near-term market headwinds. On the other hand, the third quarter of this year saw declines in the company's personal systems, consumer, and commercial segments. Unit sales of notebooks and desktops fell by 21% overall. Cisco. In November last year, Cisco announced it would be cutting off 4,100 employees, or about 5% of its 83,000-person workforce, despite reporting record quarterly revenue of $13.6 billion. The company disclosed a restructuring plan in an 8-K filing for the first quarter of its fiscal year to rebalance the organization and allow for additional investment in crucial priority areas. Restructuring and talent movement options are part of this rebalancing. The business announced that it will also change some real estate. Refrain from thinking of this as a headcount reduction driven by cost savings, Cisco CFO Scott Herron said in a statement to analysts following the release of the results. This is a true rebalancing. Meta. 3 days after the initial rumors that Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg was preparing to reduce the company's headcount surfaced drastically, the parent company confirmed that it was preparing to let go of 11,000 jobs, affecting 13% of its global workforce. In a statement, Zuckerberg claimed that the business had already made efforts to reduce expenses across the board, including reducing budgets, trimming perks, reducing the size of its real estate portfolio, and restructuring teams to boost productivity. The news was released just a few weeks after Facebook and Instagram's poor performance cost Meta $80 billion in market value and caused its share price to fall to a fraction of what it had been at the beginning of the year. Twitter. A week after his deal to purchase the company closed, Twitter's new owner, Elon Musk, wasted no time exercising his newfound power over the social media behemoth by laying off roughly half of its 7,500-strong workforce. Ex-employees claimed that the policy, tweet curation, communications, ethical AI, data science, research, accessibility, machine learning, social good, and some core engineering teams were affected by the job cuts. Was all these fair? Along with other executives from the company, including the vice president of consumer product engineering, Musk also dismissed Twitter's senior management. He tweeted in support of the job cuts, saying that it was unfortunate regarding Twitter's reduction in force, but there is no choice when the company is losing over $4 million a day. Even though these layoffs are the largest workforce reduction Twitter has ever experienced, this is not the first time this year that the company has tried to reduce the number of employees it has. Following the initial implementation of a hiring freeze, the company later decided to fire 30% of its talent acquisition team in July 2022. 10 days after the initial round of layoffs was officially confirmed, several media outlets claimed that Twitter had also abruptly fired 4,400 to 5,500 contract workers. According to news media reports, most contract employees reportedly learned that they had been fired after losing access to the business's email and internal communication systems. Amazon employees. Even after Amazon laying off its employees, there are still some issues. On Wednesday, workers at Amazon's Coventry warehouse, members of the UK's GMB union, announced that they would go on strike on January 25th to get paid more. Currently, the starting hourly wage for Amazon warehouse employees ranges from £10.50 to £11.45. According to the striking workers, the base rate should be raised to £15 per hour. This is not the first time in the last few years that Amazon has had to deal with union action. When warehouse workers in the US tried to form a union, the company was accused of trying to stop them. The National Labor Relations Board said that 2,654 warehouse workers at the JFK 8 facility in Staten Island said yes to forming a union in April 2021, while 2,131 said no. Like the warehouse workers in the UK, pro-union workers at the JFK 8 facility said they want better working conditions, longer breaks, and higher wages. IT professionals. The good news for IT professionals is that many layoffs involve non-technical staff. Companies have been increasing salaries for IT professionals due to a shortage of experienced technology talent. According to consultancy Janko Associates, merit increases for IT professionals increased by 5.61% in the US in 2022, and this year raises for some technology employees may rise by 8%. According to a recent study from Janko Associates, salaries for IT professionals are starting to catch up after miserably failing to keep up with inflation over the previous 2 years. In 2021, the business consultancy's mid-year salary survey found that the mean pay for all IT professionals increased by just 2.05%. IT professionals at large corporations made an average of $100,022 in 2021, while those at mid-sized businesses made an average of $95,681. The median salary for all IT professionals increased from $95,845 to $101,323 in 2022, as merit increases for IT professionals jumped to 5.61%. And IT executives' median pay increased to $180,000. According to CEO of Janko Associates Victor Genulitis, salaries could increase by an additional 8% this year. We just hope for the best. Anyway, what are your thoughts on all these layoffs? Is it fair for the employees? Should the company plan something else rather than laying off its hard-working employees? Comment below. Let's engage. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell.